Hey guys, it's Chet. So went out shooting the other day and shot a whole mess of corrosive ammunition out of a couple of my Mosins, also out of the Astra, the VZ52, and the Tokarev. So the age-old question when shooting corrosive ammunition: how soon do I need to clean the gun? What method do I need to clean it? A lot of guys like to put water down the bore and stuff like that. I'm going to go over a couple things with you and just kind of discuss brief method of cleaning here. Products right here. If you guys don't know about corrosive ammunition yet, a bunch of the old milsurp stuff is corrosively primed. It brings us to the antique box of Swiss Vetterli here. And years ago, the marketing campaign, clean bore. The clean bore priming is what all the rage was. Okay. See, these cartridges are positively non-corrosive. The bore of the firearm will not rust if Remington clean bore cartridges are used. So still to this day, if you look at a box of Remington primers, they actually boast clean bore priming on them, and this is to say that the primers aren't corrosive. They won't burn and produce a salt byproduct. Anyhow, basically the method that I use, and which I've used for many years, I have an old Russian SKS I bought in like 1996, and the thing is still minty, brand new. You guys need to be able to get the carbon out. I use some CLP, this break-free blaster. You got to blast that out, get all of the carbon out of the gun. Then I follow it with some hops to get some of the copper fouling out. Let it sit for a few minutes. You guys, don't be afraid to use your phosphor brushes. You guys go ahead and use the brush. And then for final lubrication, I do a little bit of rem oil. If I'm going to store them in the safe for quite some time without shooting them, I will use the Hoppy's grease on there and kind of give it an overall little light coating of the grease. I guess it's kind of like a modern day Cosmoline maybe. But so the myth, I'm going to talk about the myth of water neutralizing salt. Okay. Water does not neutralize salt, okay? There are plenty of guys who are going to tell you that water neutralizes salt. It won't. What they are using the water for is to flush the salt out of the gun. The salt residues that are left over from the combustion, from the corrosive priming. Everybody knows that salt holds up in water, okay? It's soluble. It dilutes itself in water. Everybody knows that salt water is corrosive as hell. You put some piece of metal up in salt water for a while, and the shit's gonna rot. So, the idea of I use Windex, I use water, I use all this. Basically, you're achieving the same end, but with an added, maybe more messy, more insane, step. The whole goal of it is you need to flush the carbons and the burned byproducts from the cartridge out of your gun until your patch comes out clean. And that's how you know when you've got all the shit out of your bore, okay? If you pour some water down there and it dilutes out and yet that water dries, well, now you just have evaporated salt water in your barrel, okay? And the myth of Windex and shit, ammonia is corrosive. Ammonia will dissolve copper. It works for copper fouling. In fact, there is a form of like hydroxicated ammonia in the Hoppy's solution here. A lot of guys use the Windex to, I don't know, touting the ammonia. What I have found is before the days of the internet, and yes, I do remember the days before the internet was around, nobody I knew ever poured water or Windex or anything down their guns. Much of what you see and read articles on the internet are simply one person reiterating some shit that he read somewhere, and it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of just regurgitated must pour water and Windex down your gun. It's their hobbies has been around for over 100 years. They were around when corrosive priming was just the standard, and it works. A lot of it is method, you guys. I'm going to tell you, I'm not clowning on the people pouring water down their guns, or the guys who are using 10 different solvents and lubricants. It's method. Most of it is method. I could go get a can of cheap ass, motor oil at Walmart and put my phosphor brushes and my shit up in just some 1040 weight motor oil and do a thorough job on my gun with motor oil, and the shit wouldn't rust, corrosive or not. So most of it is method. You guys need to get the carbon out of the gun, get it out, clean it, take some time. You have to do a thorough job, and that's important. You can't just pour some boiling water down your gun, squirt some rim oil on it, and then be like, oh yeah, I got it all. The salts were neutralized. Well, no, dumbass, they don't neutralize, okay? So, basically the water is flushing the shit out. And that's, it's just kind of a... you're not going to flush all the carbon out by pouring water down the barrel. It might be a great first step, but you're still going to need to get your CLP and some phosphor brushes and some shit and get on that bad boy and get you some scrubbing going on. And then, big old soaking wet patch there of hoppies. Swab that down the barrel, park that there for 5 minutes, get it again with the phosphor brush, wipe it out. Make sure the patches are coming out clean. You don't want them coming out light gray or nothing. You want them coming out clean after you shot corrosive ammo. And then go ahead with your lubricant, your rim oil, or your hoppies grease or something like that for preserving it. A lot of guys, you're going to shoot, you're going to get done, clean that thing, you're going to park it in your safe. When you've got a whole bunch of different military surplus rifles like I do, you might go 6 or 8 months before you end up taking that particular rifle back out. I end up kind of taking a different one every time I go. So that's a quick look at what I do. Man, be sure to wear your gloves so you don't end up with painter syndrome from these solvents damaging your nervous system. But I get the job done right here with just these few things. It's the CLP, clean the shit out of it, get on it, use your phosphor brushes, get the carbon out. You know what? Take the bolt apart if you have to. Dudes are worried about, the corrosive, vapors getting in every nook and cranny. Well, then take your damn thing apart and go through every nook and cranny. Don't just sit there with a Windex bottle, on your front porch. Soak it with the hops there. That's great for dissolving copper fouling. You'll even notice if it sits in there a little bit, depending on how fouled up you are, the patches will come out kind of green in color, because when the copper starts to oxidize, it'll turn green when it's decaying. That really works good. Little rim oil. You can do interior and exterior oiling with this. Nice wet patch, swab it down. Depending on how long you're going to go between shooting, man, I just soak a patch in this here after I've cleaned all the hops out. There's some guys who just leave the hoppies up in there and let it ride, but you can really soak up a patch like this, up in this stuff, swab it down there, and I've pulled, some of the firearms out of the safe, 6-7 months later, and they're still oily. Give them a good wipe down, go ahead and have fun. Nothing's corroding, but this, like I said, this is a great product, a Hoppy's gun grease. It's more like almost like a modern day Cosmoline. It prevents rust on guns and, fishing, tackle, and tools. So, that's some great stuff. But, you'll hear everybody on either side of the fence. People bitching about, oh my God, you're going to ruin all your guns if you don't pour water down them. Or, oh my God, if you don't get a bottle of Windex. There's people using washer fluid, windshield washer fluid from cars, you name it. It's all about method, guys. You need to be thorough when cleaning your firearms after corrosive ammunition. Do you have to have a Windex bottle at the range so as soon as you set your gun down you can be squirting it and everything? No, it's not like the rust will grow before your very eyes. I mean, get it home, bag it up, get it home. I mean, feed the dogs, take care of your shit in the evening after you're done. When you get some time, sit down and clean your gun. It's not like it's going to instantaneously rust. The myth of corrosive ammos is that it's just so damn caustic or whatever that it's just gonna like eat right through the metal. You'll go back to use your gun and you'll end up with like just a wood stock with all of the metal just corroded out of it. But anyways, method, that's what I'm preaching here, guys. It's your method. It's not your boiling water. It's not your Windex. It's not your 10 different types of solvents or whatever you're using. It all goes down to method, and keep them things oiled up so they don't rust. I don't need any flack from junior chemists out there. I know there's tons of junior chemists who love to weigh in on this topic, but that hobby has been around for over 100 years. I've personally used it and shot crates of corrosive shit through all of my guns, and they all look new, after 20 years of shooting them. So, and this is pretty much the same method that I've used for the last 20 years. So, don't get onto the internet myth thing, you guys. Like I said, it's a copy of a copy of a copy. Most of everything that everybody preaches is some shit that they read somewhere without doing any research themselves. And then that's how these like urban fables, just get generated and run rampant. So, I mean, you can use water if you want to, but ultimately, water alone is not going to take care of that shit. You're going to end up having to scrub the damn gun, oil it down, and preserve it before you put it away. So, this is just my 2 cents. It's worked for me for 20 years, and it's worked for a number of collectors that I know who use primarily the same method as I do for 50 years and greater. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and just hit me up with an email or something. Otherwise, have fun shooting. This is Chet signing out. Thanks for watching, guys.